Okie dokie. So the purpose of this quick demonstration is to show a feature of Bluebeam which I want to adopt into our normal overall project workflow. And this is the sets feature. And the way that this works is it will take Bluebeam, it will take individual PDFs from multiple sources and manage its own revision controlling and a single source for all documentation for the project. It might sound a little abstract, but once I start showing you how it works, it'll make more sense. So we start with an empty Bluebeam, and I have a typical project folder open here. And so the way that this works is, we go into drawings, and the purpose here is I want to have all of our drawings and all of the architect's drawings listed here for quick navigation. We'll go over some of the benefits of this in a minute, but let's just get into the actual workflow. So the first thing to do is to take an originals drawing folder and to go here and to create a new set. All right, and we're going to add those drawings to that set. And so this is going to take this PDF, we're going to click OK, and what it does is it's going to look at the title block, and it's going to take out the sheet name and sheet number and list them automatically on the left. So when I look here, I'll see that these already came in because Bluebeam knew where to look, but in some cases this might not be correct. So what you can do is you can highlight multiple sheet numbers or sheet names that don't that aren't correct, and then go to auto mark, and it'll open it up and it'll ask you for the sheet number region. So we'll click select, we'll go down here and we'll say here's where the sheet number is, and it'll, just like we've done in Bluebeam before, and it updates that here. Alright, so I'm going to click OK, and you'll see that after it does that, you see on the left, now I have each one of these sheets organized not only by the name and the number, but also by the discipline. And this discipline that we see here is from the categories. And what it does is it takes the beginning letter, and these are user defined. So we can say if the beginning letter is this, then group it under this. And so once we add all the architecture, we could also add the structural, we could add all of our MEP drawings, and we'll see them nicely organized here. So I'm going to click OK, I'm going to click OK, and now we have them here. Another thing is this button here will either show the thumbnails or hide the thumbnails. And what we want to actually show here is not the file name and the sheet number from the file name, but we can also, under options, show the show name and sheet number. So now it shows AD1 and level 1 demo plan. So this is great because now I can save this, and this is going to be basically the project set. And I can look at the architectural drawings, I can look at the MEP drawings, but what really makes this special is not just having a single source for them, but this is also going to be part of our version controlling. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, so this was from 6.16, I'm going to go ahead into the future and say like we got newer updated drawings. So I'm going to add these to it. It's going to give me the same prompt to say, okay, here's what I found for the names. Are these correct? And I look through and I say, yep, everything looks good. I'm going to click OK. And you'll see this pop up. And now you'll see a bunch of arrows that have also appeared here saying that there are pages in the new document which are going to supersede the existing drawings that you had. Is that okay? And I say, yes, that's okay. And so what it does is it replaces them, but in a way that I can now, if I go back to sheet mode, you'll see that now I can go and look at the old drawing. So here's the old one, and here's the new one. So now I don't need to go through all my originals folders. And this is not just for us, this is going to be for the engineers as well. I'm never really going to have to go and look through the old documents. I can come here for everything now. So if I want to know what the latest version of a drawing is, I can go right here and look at it, or I can look at the older one. So the reason that these say superseded is because yesterday when I was trying this out, there were more. So these are technically not good anymore, which I like. I like that it's adding this superseded onto this for me because it tells me that I'm still not looking at the latest document. So I'm going to go ahead and go to add again. I'm going to go to 711, nothing, 724, just cut sheets. Here we go, updated RCPs. I'm going to click open. I'm going to once again scroll through, make sure this is critical, this part. If for some reason it didn't detect the sheet number correctly, it won't override the older version of that document. So you can either go in and manually type it or use the auto mark, like I said, to type in the correct number. I'm going to click OK. It's going to do version controlling over these. Okay, cool. So now we have the latest set of ADs and architectural shown. Okay. Now what I want to do now is I also want to add our MEP drawings. So I'm going to go in, and we should only be doing this for formal issuances. So if I go and I get progress or whatever these are, I'm not going to update these. I don't need these versions in there, but I'm going to say I'm going to get all my SDs. And you'll see that these, because they came out of Revit, now have additional parameters as well. So we could even type in like who drew this and what it is. But I'm going to go down to ours, and you'll see here we have it picked up the sheet name and number automatically. I'm going to click OK. And now we have all of our disciplines here as well. And you'll notice that the sprinkler ones came out under structural. That's because under the categories, fire protection is FP and structural is S, and these are starting with S. So I need to change this to like SP. But I think the problem with this is like the slash in this particular case isn't picking this up because this is like SP/SD. So this might take a little tweaking, but right now I found that if I just delete structural. Okay, so now they're uncategorized. And if we just change this maybe to S. Okay, there we go. So now they're all under fire protection. So I just added this schematic design. Now I'm going to do DD update, this one here. And you can see I can pick multiple PDFs. I can pick one PDF package. It doesn't matter because it's reading it on the sheet level. So now it's saying, okay, in this case it noticed that maybe the layout changed a little bit. So now I have to detect where the sheet name is. That's going to be this region here. Okay, and we just want to make sure that I picked everything up correctly. So we go down. All right, so you see these here don't have a sheet number. So we're going to basically go through, select them all, auto mark, say here's the sheet number. Okay.
So that's what you mean when you say looking to see if anything's incorrect, is if those boxes are empty.
Yes, if the sheet number or the sheet name is empty. So we're going through, this is the time to do it.
Right.
Because once we do this, it's going to bring them in, and that's the end of that. Actually, that's not true. We can tweak it later. So, okay, so this is good. I'm going to do that. There we go. It's going to say, hey, all of your MEP drawings have been updated. I say great. I click OK. And when it says applying stamp, what that means is it's taking all the drawings that are now old and it's applying a superseded to them. So that if I open that up, let's say under electrical, superseded. So in this case, I was playing around with this yesterday, so this is just a legacy superseded, but you'll see In most cases, it should be something like that, where the old one is crossed out and the latest one is here. What I like about this is I can go up here now. So now let's say that this is the completed product. This is the latest and greatest of all the disciplines. Up here where it says print set, I can print the latest revisions, or I can even go and print previous revisions, where I can add an open set. Let's see, how does this work? So I need to pick, I need to save this as a set. So what we want to do with this is we want to save this as a set, and it's going to go into the sheet set folder here. And it's going to just have the project number.bex. And now I can print previous revisions of this electrical set. So this is going to look at basically, here, let me bring this out. So it's saying that the previous set of electrical drawings came from issued for schematic design. So it's able to detect that for this particular drawing set, the earlier drawings came from this file. Because ultimately, this isn't creating new PDFs. It's just cataloging all the old files that we have in our project folder, which I like because now we don't need extra files floating around. It's taking all of the originals, it's taking all the issued drawings, and it's putting them into one organization for us here. And the last thing that we can do with this is we can now right-click on one that has old versions and do an overlay. And it will overlay these two pages for us to see those changes. So this will work not only for ours, but also for the architects too, so we can really see like where our changes are. All right, so if I go back up to the architecture, I can look at this one and say, oh, what changed here? Or let's look at this one, what changed here? You can see the whole layout changed. But, you know, in some cases maybe it didn't. Maybe it's closer. This old one. No, they're all different now. All right.
Oh, this is Madison, so remember how all the zoning changing, so I don't think they're gonna match.
But the point is, if tweaks come through, we can just track the changes very quickly. And so now we have this whole thing saved. Now what I want to do with this is implement this into our workflow. So the way that this is going to work is when a new drawing comes, when new originals come in, we're going to do our normal process of saving everything in here, everything. And you can choose when you want to do this, but before you say translation complete is to open up this set and to add whatever the floor plans are to this set and make sure that they end up in the latest place, because we're going to broadcast this function to the engineers, and I want them to use this more than digging through the old folder structure to look for drawings, because I think it's just an easier single source location. So what you can do is, if let's say you don't have any of it open, you can just open up Bluebeam, or not. You can simply go to and I might even make a separate folder for this, but you go to sheet set and you just double click on that BEX file and it opens the whole thing for you. So now I have every original and every major issuance of MEP drawing at my fingertips, ready to go. I don't have to know what the latest version is or where it came from. All right.
Will this be affected by if certain architects, when they do updates, sometimes they send PDFs and sometimes they don't?
Yes. We need PDFs. And we've needed PDFs always, because when we're performing translations, we need to know what we're comparing it against.
Right.
So if we don't receive PDFs, this is just another, let's say, more ammunition for us to go back and say we need PDFs. Now, keep in mind, I'm only asking us to do this for the formal issuances. So when we get progress PDF ARC backgrounds, yes, they're important, but I think it's more critical for when we get the frozen DD backgrounds or the frozen CD backgrounds that we get these in here. Now, if we don't get them from them, then we can always generate PDFs either out of CAD or out of their ARC Revit model directly,
Right.
and just put them in here.
Okay.
All right, but for our work, only formal issuances should be going in here. 100% DD, SD, CD. Maybe 50% on larger projects. We use our discretion. But
Okay.
yeah, that's it. I mean, I think it's a pretty elegant way of getting this done. We, the BIM department, have to do most of the setup here. But once it's set up, there's nothing else to do. Now, what I
Okay.
like is, it'd be hard to showcase this right now, but if I had marked up this drawing with some comments, like if I put a call out here that said like, make sure this is fixed, okay? When I go and I look at the options, I can carry over copy markups to newly added revisions. And what that does is it helps us if like maybe we need to make some notes like that, like please make sure when they update the background that this is on the right layer, or that they don't show this on this plan, so that if this note gets copied over to the most current revision and that note is there and we're seeing that the issue still exists, it's a really good check for us,
Okay.
right? And what we can do is we can also look at some of the other options here. So we go manage, and oh, actually, this is all the files that are in here right now. Like I said, it doesn't make new files, it's just pointing to files. So here's all of the issuances, PDFs, whatever. And then when we go into options, we'll see that it's showing sheet sorting by this. There's really nothing that I've changed here except flatten markups after copy. So if I had that comment called out here, it's going to copy it to the latest version and then flatten it. I don't necessarily want that flat. And then I've also considered taking this superseded out of the old ones. Because it's going to cross out, because it already does a cross out. So I don't know if I need that necessarily. The categories, as I mentioned, these are user defined. And then the tags that we're showing right now, sheet name and number. We could potentially look at revision number. We can add new ones, but for right now, until we've used this on a couple projects, let's just stick with sheet name and number.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so do you guys have any questions?
So this is going from this point forward, right?
Yes, this is going from this point forward.
So anything before we talked about this today is just it is what it is.
Yeah, like I'll tell you that I set it up for this project, and I set it up for a couple other projects that I was working on just for my own personal use. Let's say a new translation comes in, that'll be the time when you create this sheet set.
Okay.
Or if the drawings are our MEP drawings are going out, that'll be the time to create that sheet set.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, like I think that's all we want to do is just really keep it simple. Sheet
Yeah.
name, sheet number, organized by group, and getting all of our versions in here.
Okay.
You know, I think
So it's gonna be just to confirm it again. It's gonna be our major submissions
correct.
and all of the architects' submissions to us.
I'm not going to say all,
Okay.
because if we look at, sometimes we get weird one-offs from these guys. Well, like obviously in this case, cut sheets I'm not going to add.
Right.
But we did get these. Am I going to add them? Well, it depends on what this is. Like, I got back-to-back updates on the same day. Maybe I don't have to do that. Maybe I don't have to add them to the sheet set.
But it wouldn't hurt, right?
It wouldn't hurt, no. And I think it's so easy that if we get the PDFs, why not add them, right? It automatically indexes the sheet name, the sheet number,
Right.
and it puts it into the right group. Actually, that brings up one thing. So let's say I missed labeling one of these incorrectly, and I missed a 0. So now I would have an A2.00 and an A2.0. Even though they're the same drawing, it wouldn't revision control them because it's not the same number.
Right.
This button up here, edit tags, is gonna be your key to fixing that. So you can open this up, and this is that same dialog that we saw before. So you could go down to whatever that erroneous drawing was, and you can just fix it here. But you can't fix it here. Like some people think, oh, I'll click F2. Look, I can just change it right there. Done. It doesn't do anything. You have to go here and fix it here. So I said earlier that when this came up on the first pass, that was your only time to do it. That's not necessarily true, but you just want to get it correct the first time. So always check. And this list is every drawing in the project. So we can do this for not just ours, but for theirs as well.
Okay.
You can see here the revision number. This is based on how many past revisions have been overridden. So you'll see 2, 5, 7. Some of them are the latest. You know, we can sort by them as well. So,
Got it.
so this is a nice window into the project as well. Like we have, these were revised twice, right? So if I go and look at some of these, we might see multiple, I don't know which ones those are now, but that you could see multiple I don't know which one it is, but like I said, you could have as many versions back as you want. You could have 7 versions of this back, and you could go all the way back to the last one. All right?
Okay.
So let's start working with this week, and then I'm not going to publicly roll it out to the broader organization until I basically get a thumbs up from the rest of you guys that this is manageable, that it isn't interrupting your workflow. I tried it yesterday. It's pretty straightforward. It adds maybe a couple minutes to your translations and
Are we
issuances, but
doing this for projects outside of NYO?
yeah, I'm gonna put this across all the offices.
Okay. So I updated Cap 1, so I should do this for Cap 1.
Let's take a look at that folder. Let's see how that's structured. Now, another thing I've noticed is sometimes the architect in an SD phase won't have a dash between the letter and the numbers, and then they add a dash. Okay, so like when that happens, I scrap the old ones because there's no reason for me to have to change it every time I get an update just because the initial drawing format was wrong. You know what I mean? So I might start over sometimes. I might delete a drawing set and start over if things just aren't working correctly. Okay, so we got
And in that case, if they want to see the old ones, they would just have to go through the folders.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
So we didn't get any PDFs here for this update.
All right, so then, yeah, that's right.
But here we did. So those will be the latest ones. And I would go back and say, you know, beyond everything you're doing, can we also get the PDFs for this?
Right.
Because if I say for all the engineers to use this and for us to guarantee that they're looking at the latest ARC backgrounds, that only works if we get them.
Now, when we request PDFs, are we going through the PM or are we going directly to the architect?
Always through the PM.
Okay.
So, you know, if an engineer or a PM or a principal says, hey, can you print me the electrical, the latest electrical and the latest architectural, you go here, no problem. I don't have to now go digging through originals folders and maybe they only pieced together, oh, they only issued me the construction plan on this day and the RCPs were yesterday and I only issued 2 mechanical drawings today and the plumbing ones were last week. You don't have to go playing that game anymore. We can just go here and print the latest ones. And I think that's one of the bigger benefits, and also the revision control I like.
So is the printing, when you print these, when you send it to the printer, it automatically prints the very latest out of the set?
You have to go here and print latest revision.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
And currently I don't have anything selected, so it won't. But if I highlight those and then say print latest, it knows that the latest all came from the same file. Okay. So if I do a Control A and print latest, I think maybe these all have to be expanded. I don't know.
So it doesn't even work right from the top level if you have just the top level selected?
I haven't really printed. Okay, so, all right, let's try that again. So we're going to go print latest revisions, and you'll see that it's picking pages 15 through 20 from this one, 1 through 2 of this one, the first half of this one. It's piecing together from all of these different files what the latest version that we're tracking is. So it's like 134 from this one, this electrical set. But keep in mind that the latest is only whichever one you put in last. So let's say we went in the reverse order and put the CDs first and the SDs last. The SDs would be the latest ones. So it's important that we do this chronologically correct. It doesn't know dates. It only knows when you put the file in.
Okay.
And then I can say, yep, okay, so that's going to be that. I can like PDF this, and we could just put today's date and say latest conform set, one PDF, you know.
All right.
And then the last thing before we conclude is under the batch here is this batch status can now apply to all of these drawings. So we can apply something to all of these drawings if we wanted to at once. Oh, and another thing to note is
So you mean like a stamp, right?
Yeah, let's just say a stamp, right,
Okay.
or a markup.
Okay.
Another thing to note is, let's say I look at this set and there were drawings that were blank. I can't go here and delete them. If I go and remove files from set, this is going to remove the entire PDF set that this drawing is coming from. So if this is in the 100% MEP drawing PDF and I say remove from set, it will remove all of them. So instead of that, what you need to do is you need to open this up by double-clicking. Look at the name of the active file. It's that whole drawing. It's not a separate drawing. I can go in here and delete this specific page from this set, not from, you know, our preview here, but from this PDF. That's how you can like remove or add things to the PDF. Not in this area here. It's not like this. It's not like this. These are just thumbnails from a PDF. This is a set of different PDFs, all grouped into one.
Got it.
Right, cool. Okay, so this is recorded. I'll put this up on YouTube. You guys can browse it for reference if you need to, or just give me a shout if you have any questions about how this works. Keep in mind that Bluebeam as a program saves the regions where you've designated the sheet name and number. So if I was to pick a new project and the title block was laid out differently, you'll have to re-point to where the sheet name and number is. But if I do Normandy again later today, with nothing in between, it'll pick up the right zones.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Hartman, I think you're on mute.
Testing. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey. What was the question?
What if they switch architects mid-project, and then
We get a new title block?
Yeah, and
Then
all that stuff.
okay, so let's say that happens. I'll have to just repoint to where those fields exist on the new title block, but ultimately the name and the number shouldn't change. It should still be A2, A3, A4.
And how do you define that again?
I go to AutoMark. It's
Okay.
You got to be careful, sheet name versus sheet number, which field you're looking for.
Okay.
So I'm looking for the number here. Select, and I just box that out.
Okay.
Okay. And like I said, you can do it for like a few here, or I can do all of these here. So anything that doesn't have something good, you can just, since they all have the same title block, you can do this,
Right.
AutoMark, and it'll just update the highlighted ones. And the same for the sheet names.
What about the situations, I don't know if anyone has ever seen this, but the architectural title block and the title block we're using in our model are different.
Again, that's okay, because what you'll do is you'll notice that you'll set it up for the architects most likely first. So
Yeah.
you'll get all of the architects in. You
Uh-huh.
go to do the MEP and you'll get a bunch of blanks here. So you'll just
Okay.
have to basically say, okay, for all the MEP drawings, our number is in a different location.
Got it. Okay.
But once this information gets in,
Mhm.
Bluebeam doesn't care. It's just a value. And if you want to, worst case scenario, like I'm sure you guys remember on Time Warner, some of the title blocks have the sheet number twice. So we used to get this twice. There's nothing you can do about that except like edit the title block family, or you can manually type it in here.
Okay.
Okay, you can always resort to manual types too if you want. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. This is cool.
Alright, cool tool.
Yep. All right, guys. So like I said, moving forward, new translations, new projects, new issuances. Get this set up. I might want to consider elevating this outside of this sheet set because I think it's a very critical file. If we're going to use it a lot, it might live up here, and we might just put an underscore and have it be above the ARC folder as a separate just BEX file that lives up here. You know what I mean? Or we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
All right.
All right.
All right. Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kieran.
Yep. Bye bye.